Hello and welcome once again to the monthly COGG Let's Play. I am Caleb Eno and this is...
Hi, I'm Lydia Eno.
And we are... Oh, shoot.
We need to do this again.
Is that working? Try it now.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, okay, there
All
we
right,
go.
sorry, we just missed our... We did it so great, too.
Yeah.
We did a whole fantastic
Weirdness
intro.
with application updates causing everything to get messed up. So, woot.
It never fails that your system needs to update as soon as you need to use it.
All right. So, yes. So, welcome once again to the monthly COGG Let's Play. And if you are watching this for the first time, COGG is a community-run organization called the Central Ohio Game Developers Group. We are located in Central Ohio, and we offer lots of opportunities for people who are interested in learning about games, making games, doing it just on your own, on your spare time, doing it professionally. We try to create opportunities and places for people to come together to share their knowledge, to network, to encourage one another, because we all know we need some good encouragement. Help each other to make games together. It's a big thing. So, one of the things that we like to do is we like to have a Let's Play. Sorry, my brain blanked. I'm looking at the audio board, and that's a problem. I should just stop. So one of the things that we want to do every month is we provide the Let's Play, this event where we take a game and, as opposed to like what a lot of Let's Plays do, where you're just kind of playing through it and having a good, kind of chill time, whatever. What our focus here is we're trying to look at the game from a design lens. So we're trying to understand what it's doing, how it's doing it, how all the pieces work together to form a cohesive whole. Just trying to learn more about how games are made and why they work. And sometimes we talk about why they don't. It's a thing. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still messing with the audio board.
Well, I can take over for a
Please
second.
take over for a second.
I was just actually talking with our kids about this recently, that we have lots of places in our culture to talk about how books are made, how movies are made, how TV shows are made, where we actually have required classes where you have to sit and learn what is going on in a book, how to read a book, how to think about a book, how to write a book, and even some level how to watch movies. But we don't really culturally have a big framework for understanding the craft behind how a game is made and what it's communicating, and how the decisions about mechanics and art styles and all of the development part of the game contributes to the experience of the game. And that's a big part of what we're doing here, is providing the education for a medium that is still finding its foothold in our cultural understanding and appreciation.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how young the video game industry is compared to a lot of industries, I mean, you think about, when was Tennis for Two? When was
1958.
that? 58, because you just looked this up. Because
I did just look this
you just
up.
had the conversation with somebody about this, which is hilarious. 58, I mean, and of course, it didn't like immediately explode
No.
after that. So it took another 20 years before things really started cooking up. So, I mean, ultimately less than 50 years, really, or about ish 50 years that the video game industry has been cooking. So, still very young compared to pretty much every other significant storytelling medium, which is pretty crazy. So, cool things that we get to be a part of in this industry. And so today, so I will admit, little bit kind of behind on planning this month. This is a little thrown together. However, this is a game that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to move this over to the screen. This is a game that Lydia and I actually played a couple of years back and had a lot of fun with. It was a really good time, and it is staggering to think that it is just shy of 13 or 11 years old. was the game that came out quite a while ago. And I don't think it made a particularly big splash. I don't think it was super well known. I frankly don't even know how it ended up in my Steam library. Likely.
I know how it ended up in your Steam library. It's because it's similar to a lot of kinds of games that we like to play together.
I would not be surprised if it was Humble Bundle.
Oh, that's
probably how I ended up with it. But we were just looking for something to play together, and we found this game, and we're like, yeah, let's just open it up and see how it goes. And frankly, we really found a lot to love about this particular game. I don't think we've done a visual novel on the Let's Play before, so that's a cool, unique thing for us to talk about. Visual novels have its own whole set of features and mechanics, and the tool chest is rich and deep for visual novels. You get all kinds of interesting experiences. There have been some pretty popular ones, actually. What was the one that just came out? Pentiment, I believe. Maybe some people will quibble about whether or not that is a truly...
Well,
hold on a second. Your mic is not coming through.
Acknowledge.
It broke. Try that.
Okay, let's acknowledge that the term visual novel, that in the gaming community, there's a big lack of respect.
It's slightly derogative. Yes,
yeah, when you say visual novel, so a lot of times when a game is a visual novel, they'll sell it as something else because they know that visual novel is a genre that gets looked down upon as not being a real game because you don't jump or hit anybody. And so it does have kind of derogatory connotations, which is not justified.
No, not justified at all. Well, so, I mean, here's what's so interesting about, like, you say visual novel because what you're really talking about is you're talking about a game that has a specific set of mechanics where the primary emphasis of the player's interaction is based off of usually reading. Sometimes there's voice acting involved, depending on like what kind of visual novel you're dealing with. But like you're talking about lots of text, usually very story rich and centric. The interactions are usually limited to more simplistic input schemes. So maybe a couple of buttons or a mouse input, and so it's usually it's not action oriented. But frankly, there's lots of games that are like that you could talk about being like not action oriented, that are more slow or simple. I mean, casual games is another almost slightly derogatory category depending on what you're talking about. But yeah, so you have a whole interesting feature set of text. And actually, one of the things I really like about Cinders and what we're going to talk about is how they use text very effectively to communicate the emotions of their characters. I think they do a fantastic job with this. It is very, very interesting. I'm excited to talk about it. Let me see. What was I going to say? So there's a really rich tool chest. And I mean, there's a couple of games that we've played. You and I specifically have played recently. I want to play Pentiment because I actually know a couple of people who wrote Pentiment, and that's always very cool. There's another game that we played recently called Death and Taxes.
Yes.
And that's also a game that somebody that I know was involved in writing. And
very interesting game.
That was so interesting and so fun, and very like taking the tools of the visual novel like tool chest and then doing some interesting things with it, but very much still maintaining a lot of the things that we'll even see Cinders is doing. So having player choices, which then impact how the sort of like overall branching story branches out, and you can end up in multiple categories, and then you have different flavors of each category depending on the kinds of choices that you made, not just which branch you took. So there's some really interesting stuff there, and I think there's some compelling things. And I think, frankly, there's stuff going on here that you could even like learn from in terms of like how would you build an RPG, or how would you build a strategy game, or how would you build. There's some interesting things that we really should give credit where credit is due to visual novels and all of the things, that innovations that they're bringing to the industry as well. So we're going to talk specifically about Cinders. This is a game launched in June of 2012, which, as I said, 11 years ago. And I was absolutely just wonderfully astonished to see this was made in Game Maker. Game Maker is an engine that is out there, and it's been out there for a long time. Game Maker's been around for a long time. I remember I was probably a middle schooler, and one of my not first, but like one of my early adventures into making games was with Game Maker 8.1, which is a classic, like good old classic Game Maker 8.1. And I made this little game called Ball Maze.
I have heard about Ball Maze so much.
And it was really silly. It was an easy inspiration because Game Maker had a red ball in its like splash screen. And so I made a little game about a red ball going on a journey. And it was actually based on, and you may not have actually heard this part, this was actually inspired by a DOS game that I used to play growing up. And it was a maze, and you had the ball. And I believe how it worked was there was like you had a score, and the number would go down every time that you were, so basically the ball was always in constant motion. Whichever your last arrow key press was the direction it was going in. And if it was running into a wall, then your score would go down as you were pushing into the wall. And so you had to kind of like try to get through the maze without hitting as many things as possible. And I remember the last one was like just like offset dashes all the way up from the bottom to the top. So you had to go to get to the top. I was probably never good at it, but I remember the particular game, and I remember its mechanics, and I kind of inspired my little Ball Maze game from forever ago. But that was made in Game Maker, and of course, eventually Yo-Yo bought Game Maker, and they've come out with Game Maker 2, or Game Maker Studio, and then Game Maker Studio 2, which is like almost total rewrite. And I know a couple of people at COGG have used Game Maker Studio to make some games, which is really cool. It's a oddly mature platform. It's like been around for a while, but it's less heard about these days. But there's still some good stuff going on there, and it's a very accessible tool. So yeah, this was developed in Game Maker. It was developed and published by MoaCube. And I think they should be really proud of the work they did here. I think it's really good. It's
really amazing. We sort of started this and fell down a rabbit hole, and it was just all we talked about and thought about for like weeks.
It was really good.
It was. I think some of the premise ideas that they're playing with here, really fertile ground for us to kind of collaborate and think about possible game ideas and where we could take them.
I mean, it's Cinderella, and that's fairly obvious, right? Yeah. But it's a well done interpretation of the Cinderella story, pulling from the original threads, not necessarily from the Disney version, or even the Rodgers and Hammerstein version. It's really pulling from
taking some of the original beats and then really taking them some wild directions. So not even the original version. I mean, it's playing a little with Perrault. I know a little bit about fairy tales. The Perrault version, which is the French version with the fairy godmother and beats, but they're taking it in really interesting directions. You could play this a lot of different ways, which we'll explore. So we should probably just get started. Now, one flaw with this game is how it begins, and we can talk about that a little bit.
I don't even remember how it begins.
This game begins at the end of the story.
Oh.
One of the things that's really difficult is you actually end up building a character here. And you end up sort of building, what kind of Cinderella is this? What are her hopes and dreams? What is she interested in? And you end up actually building out her relationship with her like stepmother and her stepsisters. And it gets very complex. But the problem is that then they chose to start kind of at the climax, but then you don't have any of that context. And so they have like it does hobble them a little bit. I think that was one of the most difficult, like that is one of the few pitfalls of this game, is that the opening feels very clumsy, and then you have to sort of walk backwards. I understand wanting to start with something interesting and engaging, so then the character building feels more interesting later on. I will say I don't think it was the best choice. It's a little loud.
Anita.
But anyway, you can already tell based on the marketing, this is, it's a fairy tale, cutouts. There's a little bit of a darker tone to this version of Cinderella. The music is moody, it's kind of intense, and it is, you can tell that we're going with like purple and black, and then this like popping out like red orange aesthetic thing, and you can already tell that there's some like tension here, and I appreciate that, setting the tone. But anyway, we can actually start the game now.
We can. I was just trying to look up.
Moa Cube.
I was trying to remember where Moa Cube was based out of. 'Cause I don't think it's American.
No, it is not American. It's European. I think it's a Slavic country, I think.
It doesn't say.
We don't wanna, we looked it up at one point. It was on. We did like a deep dive a few years ago when we played this game, and like we looked up everything we could about them. No, they're Polish.
Is it Polish? Yeah,
Yeah,
Polish into Studio Moa Cube. Yeah, that's really cool. That's great. Actually, just gonna look up what
Yeah, what their newest thing is.
I think their newest thing is a game called Solstice. Actually, that sounds intriguing. Oh, and they have a roguelike called Bonfire. Okay, there's some more games I think we need to check out from the studio.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the game itself.
All right, so we're actually playing the game now.
Let's actually play the game. Also, look at this little sparkly menu.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. All right, let's go ahead and start into the game.
I don't know what to think about it.
Uh-oh. I think it...
Oh, did it go back?
I think we... Let's try that
Start
again.
a new game?
I think I must have had something being pushed on my keyboard. Try this again.
Still can't believe I've been delaying this for so long. Makes me wonder. If I decided to act earlier, maybe things wouldn't be so broken between us. Maybe with just a little effort, this family wouldn't fall apart like this. But I suppose it was easier to complain and do nothing rather than try and change things. Isn't it always? Tonight, it's different. This is the night of change. This is the night where my plans finally take effect. I hear my stepsisters talking in soft voices in the hall. I imagine they too won't get any sleep tonight. During the last few days, I've learned so much more about them. Can it erase all the years they tormented and humiliated me? I don't know what to think about it. Okay, so we have a choice. We are picking a worldview.
Yeah,
to start.
picking kind of how we're going to develop the character.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to point out the text. So far, it's just been very straightforward, but they do have some really nice effects on it. The sound of the text being printed is really good. There's that little blue glow that happens before it. So we haven't seen a little bit more of the personality of the text being written out yet. And obviously, there's no voice acting here, except for you. But we don't have any personality of the text yet, but I will tell you it's coming, so keep your eye out and kind of how the text gets printed. So, do we think that people deserve a second chance or should get what they deserve?
So here's an interesting thing. I think last time, of course, we probably did deserve a second chance.
Yes.
So let's try we should get what they deserve.
Okay, all right.
Because let's take a different direction. So we're already picking a moral worldview for this game. And there are 4 different endings?
So there are 4 different
scenarios, categories of ending.
Yeah, so there, if I remember this correctly, there's 4 different, because there's 2 sets of main story branching choices you can make, which are the obvious go left or go right kind of decisions, right? And you make both of those, and those will get you into one of the 4 categories. But within each category, I think that there's like 4 versions of each category, and those are based off of the cumulative experience of how you chose your character. And I don't necessarily think it's just like, oh, if I choose one of these 2 here, it gets me onto one of the other branches.
I think one of the things that we found really interesting is that it isn't just a choose your own adventure where, oh, I made this decision and now I'm here. There's like a cumulative effect going on.
There's and you can make certain decisions, and there is some nuance there, and it would be really cool. And what I should do is I should look up and see if MoCube has any dev diaries on this, because there's behind this game has got to be a really interesting like calculation, how they're ranking things and how they combine things to get you into the different camps.
Because there's sort of like good endings, bad endings of things. You can't erase the past. You can't push someone into despair and expect compassion in return. We pick our own paths in life. Whatever happens, my stepsisters knew the risks. Okay, we have character arcs. We have character arcs here. Meanwhile, in the hallway. I still can't believe she did it. I would never have suspected. Of course, because everyone is as dim-witted as you are and never does anything out of the ordinary or unexpected. Oh yes, I'm sure you were able to foresee what would happen. Did you see it in tea leaves or read it in a children's book one afternoon while avoiding work and being useless as usual? Hey, notice their facial expressions change and there's a little bit of animation. I did entertain the thought that she might try to pull something off, if you must know. But believe what you want. I don't care. I also suspected she might try to do something so secretive and compliant at times that an explosion seemed inevitable. Just didn't expect she had it in her. Will you please? Sometimes you sound like a cliché villain from a bad romance novel.
Har.
Aha. Of course, if something isn't twisted, weird, or shocking, then you won't consider it. Not everyone is like you, Sophia. Fortunately so. Just like not everyone tries to be a mirror image of their mother down to mimicking her manner of speech. It slowed down here. But you are not Carmosa, remember? You do not lead, you follow mindlessly. Shut up, you.
Now see how that was like tunk tunk. It was a fast staccato experience. And the other ones, good.
It speeds up and slows down.
Open up in the name of the prince.
It's him. Why did he have to come? And in the middle of the night. Wonders never cease, just like your ridiculous cliché impersonations. It's no time for this now, though I'm sure Mother will deal with you later. I'll go summon her. You do that.
Open up! I won't repeat myself.
Mother! Sophia, don't stand like that. Open the door and let this noisy man in. It's Mother. Ah, Captain. What brings you here at this time of night?
Spare me these false pleasantries. You know I'm here. Where is she?
Very well. Sophia, get Cinders here right away. Yes, Mother. Be quick about it, child. Captain, would you fancy some wine while we wait for my lazy stepdaughter?
Don't push it. You know this is not a courtesy visit. I'm afraid a lot is going to change here tonight.
Again, it's slowed down. Very deliberate. Right? Nothing will ever be the same. Nothing. I must admit, I'm afraid of it too. Some independent woman I am. Cinders, Mother has summoned you. Move! You know she doesn't like to wait. Fine, I'm moving. Just give me a moment. Make sure it's quick. Cinders, can I ask you something? Sophia? This whole situation happened this evening, and guard bashing at our door and all. It's because of you, right? Planned it. So here's, again, what's difficult about this? We don't know what Cinderella planned, and there's Cinders. There's a whole list of things too, and some of them are like good things, and some of them are bad things. And what's awkward about this is that this,
when you're coming into the game the very first time,
and it gets clunky too because this gets repeated later, and it's a little clunky because it doesn't line up. It has to be so generic.
You can see what they're trying to do though. Like they're trying to get you into like an in media res kind of situation. It wants to be dramatic and it's like more heightened action. You're not just starting slow. Mystery, like what's going on. So you're trying to kind of elicit those sort of feelings and ideas. And then you're also trying to kind of start building the character. But it is hard to make these large sweeping generalizations about your character when you don't really have any idea who she is, what their circumstances are. Yeah, exactly. Because the stakes seem like they could be really high, but maybe they're not. And so,
especially if you were just like, oh, it's a Cinderella retelling, and you're like, I mean, what did we plan? We went to the ball. Like what did we? It doesn't give you that sense of how this story is going to be different than other Cinderella retellings. You don't get that sense from this opening jump.
Which the rest of the game
Gives
totally
you
does.
Amazingly. It just, I think that is a big flaw. I understand that that's a big design conundrum. But anyway, how should we reply?
Well, we're trying to be a little bit more opposite.
Yeah, sure.
So
let's lie to her. No. Why is it when anything happens, you always go blaming me? Oh, please. You and Gloria love to treat me as if I were stupid. But I'm not. Far from it, actually. And I'm definitely not blind. I know you've been planning it since that morning 7 days ago. And now we have a flashback.
Well, the entire rest of the game.
End of prologue. What a beautiful morning.
So I'm going to take a second and pause here because I think there's a couple of interesting things. You mentioned a little bit of the animations, but so obviously they got some great artists working behind the scenes, and their artists are strong in the two-dimensional aspect. Putting like three-dimensional art and two-dimensional art are not the same thing, and the skills that you need to be really good at one, there are some overlap, but largely they're also very different from one another. So one of the things in the situation here, looking at this, is that there's no 3D assets in this. But they are really working hard to give you a sense of three-dimensional space. And so let's just take a couple of looks at the visual things. So like they have the fire, and that's just a nice little particle effect. They have the candle. I think the swinging lantern is really great because that gives you some depth in this direction. Also, the kind of back and forth Lloyd and the Wind sunflowers with the little door. Those are super simple animations. I mean, just like a rock back and forth, the glowing on and off. The swinging door is just kind of squishing it and like expanding it. Like it's just a little squish and expand, and it's very subtle, but it's great. Like those little details are adding a lot of visual dynamic movement into the scene, and I think it works really well. And so that's one of those things is like try to see with the assets that you have. You don't have a person who can do 3D. You don't really have the ability to do like a deep, complex three-dimensional setup. Like use the tools that you have available to you, and you can make things look really interesting and really good. Like this is gorgeous. It's fantastic, and their art is phenomenal. Just look at it. It's great. Yeah, moving on. I wanted to talk about that.
What a beautiful morning. Last few days were all rain and gloom. We are. Summer in its fullest. The sun is sure nice. I get pretty cold in this room of mine. Though I don't feel so frisky right now, probably shouldn't have burned the midnight oil over a book. It's only one, too. Adolescent girl, pretty and numb as a freshly cut flower, shows divine humility and courage while everyone treats her like a doormat. We got him that meta commentary again. Writes these things. It's like a girl can't aim for anything better than martyrdom.
And I wonder if the text we're seeing here is already being influenced by the choices that we've made.
About worldview. Funny though, if it's really that bad, why did I read it in the first place? Again, giving a challenge to the player. Maybe something in it echoes a part of my own experience? I don't know, and I'm not going to spend the morning wondering about it. Of course, it isn't as if I'll get to enjoy the day either. Lady Carmosa will certainly make sure I have to do the worst chores. The old hag could use any of her servants, but no, she always sends me, just to rub in the humiliation. Father was still here. On a day like this, he would surely take me to the forest. So we've got some world building about places to go, Cinders who likes to read books, we have places and options. We're already building out. We always went to the lake, the magical lake as he called it. Left a loaf of bread under the old tree. Gotta pay tribute to the fairies. You never know when you may need their help. Good old man. Used to tell me stories about the little folk even when I was far too old to believe them anymore. But enough daydreaming. Honestly, I talk to myself way too often these days. Give me a moment before I start considering mice and sparrows my only friends, and we will go frolicking and singing together. It's a little bit, not my Cinderella, like it's a little bit girl bossy, but I think this takes it an interesting direction. My future animal companions will have to wait though. They get lonely sometimes, but not desperate. Time to get up, Cinders. The day has only just started. You never know what the future may bring. Very 2012 aesthetics. She's got side bangs and a scarf and lots of layers. Still have some time before my dear sisters wake up. I could start my cleaning duties or to have more time later. Or I could try to finish that book I was reading last night. Or I could seize this opportunity to do sweet nothing! Haha! Not like I have time for myself very often. So, again, now we have options. And what's really interesting about this is you are building a character. These are like activities. And at first you're like, oh, it's just options of what to do. But what you're actually doing is like rolling for a character, like an RPG. You're building a character here. And by, or you think about like morality systems, like which kind of character you're going to be, Paragon or Renegade. And that is what you're building here, is what kind of personality are you? Are you going to play the Cinders the straight way where she's, I gotta keep cleaning, or that she's going to be intellectual and read the book, or that she's going to reject some of that and do something else? And I don't know what their like system is for how to determine character, what their dice under the hood is.
Right.
But you're rolling for a character here.
Makes me think a little bit about Kingdom Hearts, where you have to choose like power, magic, or shield.
Yeah, it's the magic, the sword, or the shield. Which one are you going to pick? And that changes your stats and where you put it. Yeah.
I don't know, so what do we want to do?
Be a lazy bum? Since my father's death, Carmosa and her daughters treat me as their servant. Cinders, do the cleaning. Cinders, go to the town. Cinders, why isn't my dress washed yet? Ugh, wash it yourself. I'm sure today won't be any different. Not yet. Still have some time. The sun is shining. Morning air is so fresh. Sometimes it's great to just sit down and enjoy it. If Carmosa and my sisters can still. Sit down and relax. Your mind wander freely and worry about nothing. I don't think so. I bet they're too stuck up for that. They're always busy trying to prove or gain something. Really taking time to enjoy the fruits of their labor. My life may not be a fairy tale lately. It's good to know I have something they can't take away. Morning air is so soothing. I think I'll take a nap. Cinders, are you there? Surely didn't last long. Cinders, where are you? So hopeless. Stop lazing around and move. Mother wishes to see you immediately. Did she tell you what she wants? Of course not. Why would she? And why would I ask in the first place? Looked rather angry, though. Doesn't sound good. If I'm not in some kind of trouble again, you really could have asked her, you know? I think you mistook me for one of those gentle, well-mannered noble girls who care about others. Sorry to break it for you, but I don't. You're in trouble. That means I get a free pass today, so I'm rooting for it with all my heart, sis. So each Cinderella adaptation can take the stepsisters in different ways. You can have stepsisters who are just stock bad.
Vindictive. Yeah.
You can have them be evil. You can have them be manipulative. You can have them
Silly,
be
clumsy.
yeah. You can have them be the same, like a pair of the same, like where they're just sort of like interchangeable. Or I think one of the more interesting things you can do is to pit them against each other.
Yeah.
So when you're like adapting a story like this or like a common thing, you can play with lots of different kinds of themes.
Well, we just finished reading Ella Enchanted, another Cinderella retelling, and they do a really interesting dynamic with the stepsisters, I think. Make them quite different.
Yeah, well, a way people often take them is there's like a dumb one is often a direction.
And a smart,
you go,
vindictive
and a smart
one.
Yeah, or like Ever After did like there's like the manipulative one and the one who's kind of complicit but is actually nicer.
Mm-hmm.
This you have a similar dynamic here. You have the like hot manipulative one and the one who's younger who's like a little more scheming. Like, because Sophia here is like more intellectual, but also communicates that she's kind of getting abused too. So this is, I think our playthrough, we kind of uncovered this whole layers to Sophia, and she became really sympathetic.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is really interesting. That there are sort of character development layers to discover if you ask the right questions.
Right. And yeah, how she bounces off of you has a big impact on. I think this character, more than a lot of the characters, has a lot of dynamism in terms of how your choices affect the relationship.
Yeah, does she become a friend, or is she scheming against you? Like, it really can go either direction. Oh, apparently we missed something. We didn't respond fast enough, and
Oh, no, sorry, I pushed the button.
I never read Cinderella's thing, so.
She just said, it was
Thank
like,
you.
aren't
Now
you
hurry up and
aren't
let's
you
go
a
already."
wonderful human being? I think she said like that.
Which again, some of this dialogue writing, what they're trying to do is put as much ambiguity in it as possible, so that you can
That is one of the tricks with branching,
Yeah.
is that you have to, because you don't want to create completely fresh dialogue for every single branch, right? Because that's so much writing.
Yeah,
So you have to
that's way
have
too
ways
much.
of being able to loop back into the important pieces of information so that the plot move forward.
There's a thing that we talk about in like film, where you could have a blank face, but depending on what you show with the blank face, you get a different emotional reaction. And that's kind of what this is doing, is it's creating dialogue that you can take sarcastically or sincerely or like angry. You can read your own emotion into what it is.
Yeah.
And that takes some effort.
Well,
here.
and they can literally change the character's face
Yeah, they
to
can.
convey particular emotions as well.
Yeah.
Did you read this yet?
Yes, I did. Oh, shut up. I used to play in this hall as a child, but the building isn't much of a home anymore with Father gone. Carmosa does her best to keep the residence in its former splendor, and I guess most would be fooled by it. This place feels like it is fading away. Oh, so you didn't get lost after all. I was starting to think that you couldn't find your way. It seems you were just taking your precious time with no regard for the rest of us. Also very 2012 hairstyle. You're as hopelessly irresponsible as that sister of mine. Wonder that Mother can't count on anyone other than me in this house. I don't remember her deal, but there is a whole deal there. Don't tell me you got caught up daydreaming about some prince coming to save you. So, this is asking, are we gonna have a Cinderella who's interested in romance, or one who wants to go on her own journey?
Or snarky.
Snarky. I know, I was thinking about that too. No, did you? You're the one who should be dreaming of rescue from your prison, if you ask me. Watch your tongue. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? I haven't seen you smile for quite some time now. It's very thoughtful of you to worry about me, but if I were you, I'd pay more attention to your situation. I don't want your pity. And before you get any more foolish ideas, I think you should know that Mother is calling for you. She says she has a special job for you. No doubt something rudimentary enough. Again, that sped through that to give you an attitude. So you were sent to fetch me then. Mother entrusts me with important tasks. Don't mistake me for being on your level. You wait here. I'll let her know that you finally rolled out of bed. So again, fleshing out the relationship.
Like just complacent?
Yeah.
Or challenging?
Yeah.
Which is a different dynamic
yeah.
than some of the other questions.
And the challenging could go either antagonistic or compassionate.
Yeah.
It can go either direction. And so we're already starting to feed out into some of the possibilities for like where this ending will take us.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Kind of leaning towards this.
Sure. I mean, we can do that. Be a bad Cinderella. Don't you ever get tired of all of this? Tired? What are you babbling about? Try so hard to be like Carmosa. Dress like her, you speak like her, and yet she still treats you as little more than a servant. ... And shock. Did I really just get her to shut up? Expecting an insult at the very least. Feels empty again. Gloria's presence is better than nothing. Here we've got waving branches in the back again. Truthfully, I feel bad for her. I may be the servant around here, but her situation isn't that different from mine. Both Gloria and Sophia spend every waking moment doing Carmosa's bidding. Just because it's not scrubbing floors doesn't mean they're not servants too. Again, a very interesting way to take this story. So you're finally up, you lazy girl. Can't anyone in this house just do what's asked of them? I swear you feeble-minded girls are going to be the death of me. You've wasted too much of my time already. I have a job for you. Go into town and find the merchant Tobias. I need you to pay him for a certain service. I'm giving you 200 sovereigns exactly. Don't you dare lose them. Must be a fool to entrust you with this much money, but unfortunately, no one else to send. I have better plans for those two useless daughters of mine. Now hurry up, child. Time is of the essence. Rosa has been speaking to me this whole time, alternating between insults and orders. Do I really have to silently accept this? So how do we treat stepmother?
I'm sort of inclined to ask her what service.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's be conniving this time. What exactly is this service you're paying for? Mind your own business, child. There's no need for you to know. Why can't any of you girls just obey me without asking such vacant questions? Now hurry up and go. Rosa's even more angry than usual today. I wonder what set her off. Never seen her this defensive. She must be hiding something. Suppose it could be worse. The town isn't such a terrible thing. Beautiful day. Great excuse to get away from the house. I won't even get in trouble for leaving as quickly as I can. Besides, Tobias has always been nice to me, so I'll enjoy seeing him again. This could be a rather pleasant trip. So we've already got set up, there's a magical lake where there are fairies, and there's Tobias, and if you are at all interested in fairy tale retellings, you know like a big direction people take Cinderella when they want to be transgressive is to be like, maybe she isn't interested in the prince. Maybe the prince isn't actually who she wants to end up with. And so we've already seeded that as a possible story track for us to go to. All right, so here we have a map.
So we have residence and the forest.
Yeah, that's where we can go right now.
Oh, forest, I suppose.
Suppose I should be grateful. Even though Carmosa practically kicked me out of the house, it's better than staying there. It really is beautiful here. Much needed break from that toxic house. The lake that my father took me to as a child isn't far away too. We miss our trips. Nice to visit it again, if only for the sake of memories. I wonder if I have enough time. Carmosa did tell me to hurry after all. So we actually have a limited number of directions and choices we can take.
Yeah, and this is actually fairly common. It's like you have a certain amount of time, and some games are very forward with it. There was a mobile game, I think it was called like Evertree Inn or something, and it actually had like a counter on it. There was like a number that said this is how many hours you have before this is the thing that's going to happen. So there's like dinner's at this time, you have 12 hours, and the actions that you take cost time. So there's something like that in this game where it's like that overt,
Yeah.
but
It's
has a
definitely
similar
there,
kind of
so-
thing underneath. I think.
Yeah, we should go to the lake because we need to talk about the Fae. So we've already... I know that we've introduced some of the subtle things that this is doing with like Cinderella mythology. Again, I wish that they had shown a little bit earlier on how different they were going to take this story. Because they're talking about fairies and little folk, and you're like, oh, it's one of these Cinderella stories. Okay, we got a fairy godmother. They're going to do something very different with the Fae that I think I wish that they had like hinted at earlier on, instead of just being like, this is not your mama, Cinderella. Have been like, no, this legitimately isn't. We're taking this in really interesting directions. So anyway, sorry. Carmosa will yell at me when I get back, no matter what I do. It's impossible to lose that woman. But I suppose a trip to the lake wouldn't make a difference one way or the other. It's so long since my last visit. I do miss it. I'll go. Glad I chose to come. The place is just as beautiful as it was when Father used to take me here. As a child, I knew that this place was magical, but I've outgrown fairy tales now. Though there's something to this place. It feels enchanted. It's because it hasn't changed a bit since I was a little brat. Or that Father would always leave a gift for the fairies every time he visited. Maybe I should do the same. Yes, because we want to meet them. I think we can't meet them until later. Which I brought something with me, but I don't really own anything that would make a proper gift anyway. Well, it's the intent behind the gift that matters more than the actual gift. As long as I'm honoring the fairies, they'll appreciate it. But Father would say, I guess he really was a big child deep inside. I think I'll weave a wreath out of some of the flowers here. I'm sure the fairies would appreciate it. Nicer than I expected. It's such a long time since I've been like this. It feels a little nostalgic. Funny how when we grow up, we start rejecting things that are childish, only to return to them later with great joy. Again, meta commentary about fairy tales. I think I'll leave this wreath under that old oak. That's where Father always left our gifts when we came. Oh, I've spent too long here already. I need to get to town. We just burned a bunch of time going to the forest. But we want to.
Town then?
Yeah, town then.
I was super curious because you can, in theory, go back to
Back to
these
the
places. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Finally at the town. Probably head straight to Tobias's shop. Strange, what's that crowd over there? And it seems to be surrounding that building. Or if someone around here can tell me what's going on. Excuse me, ma'am. Could you tell me what that crowd is for? Oh, child, haven't you heard? A bunch of good-for-nothing thugs took their hideout there. Bastards kidnapped a child. I'm sure you know it's market day today. A lot of folk come into this town to trade their wares, but there's also the unwelcome element, you know what I mean? One of the merchants caught some ruffians red-handed stealing from him, like it's no one's business. So we naturally grabbed whatever pointy thing came in handy and made sure those lowlifes know we don't take kindly to thieves in this town. Those scum grabbed a child and locked themselves up in that house. They're threatening to kill the brat if anyone tries to enter. I think this is... I don't remember this happening at all.
I think it
Did?
maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
That's horrible. Oh, the poor mother. Thank goodness some lads noticed Perrault. I forgot about that. The captain of the
guard
Princess
is named
Guard drinking
Perrault.
at the inn. Oh, this is how we meet the captain of the guard. Right. A few men went to fetch him from the tavern. He grabbed that blade of his and went into the house without saying a thing. Wish that good-for-nothing husband of mine would be so great, but he's only good for drinking and complaining, I tell ya. Been silent like a graveyard in the night since the captain went in. Who knows what happened there? Oh, such awful times we live in. That truly is sad. Thank you for telling me. That child doesn't get hurt. The captain of the guard plans to fight. It's sure to be dangerous in there. Wait, everyone has stopped talking. Did something happen? Someone is coming outside. The captain of the guard.
The child is safe now. Get rid of the bodies.
He's super sketchy. He's got a scar on his face and a bunch of belts. You know he's morally ambiguous the more belts he has. Wow, did he just take an entire gang of bandits on his own? Just disappeared without waiting for any thanks, like he doesn't care. Man could do something so heroic and yet remain so emotionless about it. Looks like the child has been reunited with his mother. What a relief. Oh, I'm running late now. I'd better go see Tobias right away. Tobias's store is neat and well organized as usual. The look of things, he's been doing well for himself. Also appreciate the fact that the artwork from the game painted in the back of the store.
No. Really?
Yeah, see, we've got the forest.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
All the backgrounds are
Oh my
painted.
gosh.
That's awesome.
Well spotted, Lydia.
That
is
is-
fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes. Well done, y'all. Well done.
Tooting their own horn there. Or just reusing assets, but hey.
No, it's just really good.
Guess he was lucky those thieves didn't decide to rob his place instead of one of those poor merchants at the market. Hey, welcome, Cinders. Is everything all right? You seem a bit pale. Just witnessed a terrible scene in the market. A group of brigands kidnapped a child and barricaded themselves in one of the houses. Evans, did someone call the guards? Luckily, the captain was nearby and resolved the situation quickly with his sword. Messy as it may seem, that is his job. Glad to hear everyone's all right. Not everyone. Killed all those men. I don't know how to feel about it. Always had a gentle heart, Cinders. Have you missed it? Well, it's been too long since you last stopped by, that's for sure. How have you been? Much the same. Hermosa works me to the bone every day, and there are times when I wish I could just disappear. But I manage. There are days that make me happy, like today. I'm glad to see you again, Tobias. Looks like your shop is flourishing. Does well enough. I hope you know that you can come speak to me anytime you want. Used to spend so much time together when we were teenagers. Now that we're adults, it hardly seems like we even catch a glimpse of each other. It's really a shame. So we've got a slightly older Cinderella, too. Nice detail to put in the dialogue. You're right. Feels like childhood friendships disappear once you mature. Hard to keep them alive sometimes, even when you have the best of intentions. Such a true statement. But I assume you didn't just come here to remember the old days. Sadly, no. I'm on an errand for Carmosa. I'm here to pay you for... Well, whatever it is she asked for, she's being very secretive about the whole thing. Oh, that... That? Now I'm even more curious about this errand. Oh yeah, we should definitely ask him. So what exactly did Carmosa ask you to do, anyway? Sounds mysterious. I'm afraid I can't tell you. Why not? Well, I promised Carmosa that I wouldn't tell anyone. I would like to keep my word. Also, it's basic business ethics, Cinders. Yeah. Carmosa isn't worth such honorable treatment. She doesn't treat any of us nearly as well. It may be true, but I gave my word. Carmosa might not be honorable, but I certainly am, or at least I'm trying to keep my standards. Oh, you can tell me. Remember how close friends we were as children? Why can't you just tell me for old time's sake? I gave my word. A promise is a promise, and I intend to keep it. It's about keeping my honor, and it doesn't matter if Carmosa's a good person or not. And now Tobias is not our friend anymore. Please don't ask about it again. Fine, I understand. Anyway, Carmosa said that I was supposed to give you some money for this job. So we just watched that whole interaction. We just moved into the so anyway, meant that we could have, whichever direction we had taken, we'd move to the next section. That's true, but I'm surprised that she would send you to pay for it. Said something about not having a choice? How much does she owe you? Around 200 sovereigns, I'd say. An estimate? That means Carmosa and Tobias haven't agreed on a set price yet. If I could negotiate a discount, I might get in Carmosa's good graces. Or just get some money for myself. I don't know, what should we do? Wanna haggle?
Mm-hmm.
Let's haggle. How about 150 sovereigns then? Does that sound reasonable? I wouldn't have guessed you'd say such a thing. So, 150's fine? Let's meet in the middle. How about 175? Sounds good to me. Here's your pay. Drive a hard bargain, old friend. You really have the makings of being a great merchant. Thank you. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but you're really not so different from Carmosa. What? What are you talking about? You tried to get me to lower the price, though I'm your friend. So? That doesn't mean I'm like Carmosa. That woman is cruel and manipulative. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. But you only see one side of Carmosa. Her life isn't easy either. She's a single woman working to keep her house from falling apart. So again, we have an option where we can have a villain or be more compassionate. Not an easy job, but she's very good at it. That takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice. I think you're a better person than she is. You both have the same spark. Clever, and you know what you want. You'd be a good leader. I think we just got a good leader qualification thing in our slot. I suppose you have a point. I never thought about Carmosa like that before. People aren't simply good or bad. Those who do bad things usually have a reason for it.
This is the writer showing their hand.
You really are a wise man, Tobias. I've always liked that about you. I'm happy I could see you again. The pleasure is all mine. I hope that you come again soon. Do my best. Until the next time we meet, then. Oh, I almost forgot. What is it? Please tell Carmosa that I'll fulfill my part of the deal soon. She should expect my representative to come by sometime tonight. Sure, I'll let her know. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, I had no idea you have your representatives nowadays. Comes with the trade, I guess. Start throwing coin around, and suddenly you find yourself surrounded with people eager to run errands for you. Coin, you say? And I thought it had more to do with your magnetic personality. I used to be magnetic, but it made trading in metalware too risky for me, so I stopped.
Ha.
Oh, people do tend to underestimate the pain caused by fast-flying cutlery. There was a time in my life when I was forced to eat with my hands, but I prefer not to speak about it. Oh, I've missed our talks, Tobias. Me too, Cinders. Hope I'll see you again soon. I hope so too. Take care, friend. Really miss the old days when Tobias and I played together. So glad I could see him again. Oh, hey. That little thing on the corner means that something got officially logged. So we got one of our paths. I think that thing and those are the things where, like, change points. This is an interesting thing that games can do, especially like visual novels or like the Telltale model of games.
Oh yeah. The what's the classic one? Clementine.
Clementine will
remember this. Yeah, it's the classic.
Where you are really recognizing the consequences your actions have. So that interaction,
Or at least that your actions will indeed have
consequences.
Yeah.
So that's the first time that we have gotten an indication that something has
Our
been
actions had
set.
consequences. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, and I even have an extra 25 sovereigns for myself. I could stop by the tavern and treat myself with this money. But if I brought it back to Carmosa, I'm sure she'd appreciate it. What should we do with the money? Did we go to the inn last?
I don't think we
I don't
did.
think we got extra money last time. I don't remember this.
I think we did get extra money last time. I think we appealed to friendship.
Probably.
But we never went to the inn. I don't
Yeah.
think even once, did
Yeah, let's do it.
we? Maybe we did.
This place looks so full of life. Although to be fair, it's a little bit shady too. I hear that this inn attracts some of the less honest people in town, but at least it's exciting. People here actually know how to have fun. Nothing like that stiff and proper place I'm forced to call home. Hermosa and her daughters are all too proud to do anything fun. Well, I'm not going to be like that. I'll order a huge meal and a beer to go with it. Oh, Captain of the Guard is still here. He's all alone in the corner. I wonder if he'd let me sit with him. Oh yeah, we definitely getting to know the rogue. I'm already spending time drinking beer at the tavern. I might as well just take the plunge. Looking at me at least, but he's not even talking. Hello. Hello. You mind if I sit here?
There are plenty of free tables in here, but it seems like you've already made up your mind.
Thank you. I just wanted to chat with you, if that's okay. Are you really the captain of the Prince's Guard?
I am. King appointed me to this position himself. Ever since his death 2 years ago, I've served the prince.
No, we have a prince.
Ooh, yeah, backstory.
We've got backstory.
There was a king.
There was
the king
a king.
is dead.
The king is dead.
The prince is not the king yet.
The prince is not the king yet. So I don't remember if there's a queen. If there's a queen. Yes. Isn't there like a scheming queen?
I don't know if there's a scheming queen, but at the very least, the prince hasn't been made the king yet.
How is the prince doing? What's it like to serve under him? Do you like it?
As the prince, my ruler, and my liege. That's all that matters for me.
Oh, I see. Oh, I saw you rescue that kidnapped child this morning. That was really impressive.
It's simply my duty.
I suppose. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's question the ambiguity. Are they necessary for you to kill them? Surely you could have let them live.
Choice. They chose that path when they put an innocent life at risk.
I'm sure those bandits were just desperate and not thinking clearly. It's It's cruel to take someone's life just because of a poor decision.
A fair argument.
Would you have me to? Would you rather risk the life of the child who did nothing wrong? Better yet, should I leave the fate of the bandits and the child to the crowd? What if they tried to break in and the bandits decided to kill the boy? Maybe the crowd would have burned the house down and everyone would have died slowly. At least by my sword, those men were given the sword of death. My duty to uphold the peace. That is what I did. Hide behind your obligation, but it's still your choice to spare a life or take it. Can you really sleep well with such a flimsy excuse as duty? You have an interesting way of thinking. It's nothing I've considered before. You're an interesting girl. Might I know your name? I'm called Cinders. Not choice. My name is Perrault. Named for Perrault. Yes, who wrote the French version. My father used to call me that because of my hair. Now it's stuck. Though when my sisters address me, it sounds more like an insult. I think that's the first time we've gotten that piece of info.
Yeah.
That's cool. See, then I wish you well, Cinders. Perrault is so unusual. On the surface, he might be considered cold or cruel, but he takes his responsibility very seriously. Being the captain of the Prince's Guard can't be an easy task. Well, I should probably return to my meal before it grows cold. I should head back home. It's getting late. Yes, go to the forest. Go to the forest. I should stop by the forest before I return home to Carmosa and my stepsisters. Might be nice to have a little break after all.
Choice.
The gift I left by the lake is still there. It's probably silly to think that fairies took it, but I'm curious. Yes, go to the lake. Oh, the wreath of flowers that I wove is gone. I doubt it was blown away by the wind or taken by a wild animal, but Father would probably tell me the fairies had accepted it as a gift. I think I prefer to believe Father's version. Growing late, though, I should return home. Okay. When we meet the Fae, whole thing.
I don't know if we're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's probably
Too late.
too far through the story.
Yeah. Right.
Suppose we actually go home.
Yeah. Journey back to my house was much too short. Not looking forward to facing Carmosa or my sisters again. At least I got a rare reprieve from their insults today. Lasted longer. Terribly late. Carmosa told me to hurry back and it's nearly nightfall. I'm sure she'll skin me alive. Being late, that's a choice. Cinders, do you have any idea what time it is, you useless girl? Where have you been all this time? Yeah. What I do with my own time is not any of your business. I work for you without any form of compensation, so why do you care if it takes a little longer to get tasks done? I did what you told me to, after all. Foolish girl. A person's usefulness is not in merely blindly following orders, but in following them efficiently. You may babble all you like, but the truth is that you're simply a lazy child. At least you managed to finish the task appointed to you, though I take little solace in all that. Too much to hope that you managed to keep some of the money I gave to you? Well, he said the price was 200 gold pieces, so that's what I paid him. Why am I not surprised? I was just foolish to expect more from a girl as disjointed from reality as you. What are you talking about? You never take the first offer. Anyone who conducts business, no. And anyone in their right mind knows that. Tobias is my friend. He would not... Enough. I am not interested in your excuses. What a disaster. You are more useless than I could have imagined. If I stopped feeding you, it would be exactly what you deserve. And I suppose I would be arrested for petty crime if I did that. But Silence! Get out of my sight. Just looking at you makes me ill. You will go to your room and you will stay there until you're summoned. Is that clear? Yes. So we can't go out at night. Because I think before we snuck out at night and we went back to the lake. Anyway, we're at the palace. We're meeting the prince.
Lord, told you wanted to see me. I've been informed of the hostage situation at the marketplace today. I also heard that you handled the situation rather admirably. For that, I commend you. Thank you, my lord. The truth is, I regret having to kill so many men. I couldn't even put up a fight.
Such is the burden of those in positions of power. You must make difficult decisions for the sake of protecting others. It is not a choice, but a duty. You performed your duty to perfection.
You honor me with your words, my lord.
Observe it. After all, my father, your king, has always spoken well of you. I know he even considered you a friend.
He spoke so. I am honored by such confidence.
Really? What do you think of my father? How was it to serve under him?
Wise, skillful, and strong leader. I would have followed him anywhere.
That is what I heard from everyone who knew him. Already I fade in comparison. I have not yet been crowned, as father's last wish was that I should find a wife first. No doubt he wished that I find someone capable of ruling by my side. Of course, every noble in the land is eagerly pushing an eligible daughter towards me. I need a strong woman I can rely on. Queen who can support my agenda no matter how hard it's going to be.
Simple warrior, my lord. I know very little of romance, politics.
Nonsense. My father trusted you in more matters than war, and I am willing to do that. Please advise me, not as the captain of the guard, but as my friend. I confess, even my own palace is not a safe place for discussing such delicate matters. Walls have ears, and I would not wish for my search for a wife to become any more public than it already is. Might we go hunting together tomorrow morning? I think we would find the forest a safer place for discussion.
Such an action is dangerous, my lord. If something were to happen to you, there is no one to succeed you on the throne.
That's so. Cannot imagine anything safer than having the famous captain of the guard by my side.
That is what you wish, my lord.
That is indeed what I wish. You can go now, friend.
Prince.
Good old Vermont. Brave captain of the Royal Guard, first sword in the kingdom, veteran of the Renegade War. Reduced to killing common thugs and guarding market stalls, not yet aware of how obsolete his role is. These are different times that require a new kind of bravery and power. Our wars will not be fought using iron and fire, but gold and lies. The prince can go lots of different directions too. I think when we played him, he was kind of like he was politically complicated, but like very interesting. Like he was also kind, but you could take him to be scheming, and it's a whole thing, which is really cool.
And how you interact with them
Yeah.
changes their characters as well.
Yeah.
How people, like, I think we already saw that with Peralt.
Yeah. Hope you can adapt to these new times, my poor old friend. When I become king and start realizing my plans, goodness knows I'm going to need, like you. Oh yeah, it is nighttime. Yeah, later that night. Finally, I have some time to myself after doing Carmosa's bidding all day. Still, it could have been worse. Carmosa was furious and I got nothing but cold scraps for dinner. But at least I was able to get away from the house for most of the day. Another thing that's changed. I always loved going into town. I can't believe how exhausted I am after today, though. I feel I should go to bed. Carmosa certainly won't allow me to sleep in tomorrow. That's someone knocking at the door. Why would someone be visiting us at such a time? Silence! I paid for your discretion. You pound on the front door as if it's a war drum.
Right, pardon, madame. I swear I'll be as silent as the tombs. Right away. Mum's the word. Nonsense. The package is ready to go. Can I trust you? Oh, you wound my pride, madame. I'm more trustworthy than an old priest in a confession. Such an utterance of little comfort to me. No one can escape Carmosa's biting tongue. Now prove there's some value to your words, and go before someone sees you.
What's that all about? What on earth is Carmosa trying to hide? Maybe I should sneak out the window and try to follow him. Yes! Can't have gone far. If I leave now, I'm sure I can catch up with him. No, that's crazy. I can't do that. Oh yeah, we're following the mysterious visitor. Must be crazy, but this is my only chance. Long have I waited here, wishing for a change. Finally, an opportunity has presented itself. Carmosa clearly has a secret. If I could figure it out, I might have an advantage over her. No one is outside the window. Now is as good a time as ever. Here goes nothing. Well, now what? I tried to keep my distance while following that man, and now have lost his trail completely. Somewhere up ahead, I really have to hurry to catch up with him. But if I accidentally pass him, then I run the risk of running into him when I return home. Ah, curse these demonic excuses for plans! Oh, this is a shady character. Yes.
Are you scratching a fella? You're more like wildcats than shrubs.
That must be him. It's close. I'd better hide.
Ah, blasted rocks. What are they doing in my path? Think they'd clear out this place, counting that a fellow can't see a thing in the dark. It's not proper, I tell you. Well, I'm sure this be a place where I'm scheduled to meet that smart-ass merchant. Smart-ass or not, you should be more careful when talking about the man who pays you. Oh, boss, I was just talking to myself, and no harm meant, you know. Truly, I suppose I can let this one go, if you brought the package as discreetly as Lady Carmosa requested. Of course, no ifs about it, boss. It wounds my honor that you doubt my competence for even a moment. No, I never doubt it. Now hand it over. Before I do, boss, I have a little something I needed to ask you. What would that be? You know I'm an honest man, but my curiosity just took hold of me so hard I had to have a look inside this package. Lo and behold, my eye spies a mighty fine necklace set with rubies and made of gold. Worth thousands of sovereigns at least, yeah? I specifically instructed you not to look inside. Necklace? Yes, it's probably worth quite a lot of money. Get it, boss, why is the noble lady paying us to take this off her hands? Seems all Ray's wrong around to me. Has her reasons, and you're not being paid to poke around and ask needless questions. In fact, if you don't keep your mouth shut, you won't be paid at all. Oh, boss, no need to get so angry. My mouth is secure as the royal treasury it is. Doubt the contents are quite as valuable. Still, you've completed your task, so here's your pay. 15 sovereigns. Try not to drink it all at once. Me? Never. You wound me with your accusations, boss. Sure. Well, she should return to town before someone stumbles upon us. What on earth is Tobias up to? Never mind that. If I don't do something, they'll leave before I can do anything. Now might be my only chance to confront him, but I probably shouldn't act too impulsive. Yeah, let's confront Tobias. Let's do it. There's no time like the present. Hold on. Cinders, what are you doing here in the middle of the night? I was following your employee from my house. Looked like he was up to no good. Didn't think he'd lead me to you. You have a lot of explaining to do. Not sure who the pretty bird is, boss, but she definitely means business. That much I know. You shouldn't have come here, Cinders. And why not? You and Carmosa up to something? It's not what you think it is. The only reason for the secrecy is because this is dangerous. Please, it's nothing you should have to worry about.
Really? Because it looks pretty shady to me.
People value their privacy. There's nothing shady about that.
I'm not sure I believe that.
Should we trust Tobias? What do you think? No. Wake up and choose violence. No.
I don't believe you.
It's clear you're doing something underhanded. If Carmosa's involved, what other option is there?
If our friendship means anything, you won't keep secrets from me.
If our friendship meant anything, you would have trusted when I said it was nothing. If you're so keen to know, I'll tell you, just not in our present company.
Boss, I've heard that you don't trust me.
Right honest man I am. Naturally. Cinders, come see me at my shop sometime this week, and I'll tell you.
I will.
Sorry to end this conversation so abruptly, but I must be going. Get yourself home safely, all right?
All right. That they're gone.
Heart is racing so fast, I can't believe what just happened. I wasn't too hard on Tobias, but I'm sure he was up to no good. I should return home now. Sleeping tonight will certainly be very difficult. In the morning... What a night! Maybe Boss was right when he said not to drink away my pay in one go. Still, I can't say it wasn't worth it for how great last night was. Wait, what exactly happened last night? How'd I even wind up here? The deer went this way, my lord. Why, someone's coming. Better lay low for a mite. Hurry, before it gets away. Get the deer, Captain. The more important matters at hand. This is about what you asked yesterday, my lord. I know little of politics, or the affairs of the court. That's exactly why I need you. You're straightforward and honest, and you see things I can't. Behind all those smiles, everyone in the court lies to me. No, you're the only man I can trust. I will serve you to the best of my ability. What is it you wish to discuss? It's about my father's last wish. I must have a wife before I ascend the throne. How am I to choose one? There's a ball in a few days. Isn't that your chance to find an eligible young lady? In theory, but that's the problem. How will I be able to tell? Monarchy is weak without a king. The nobles around me are plotting to advance themselves. Groom their daughters like prized spaniels in the hopes I'll be taken in by a pretty face. I need a wife who's strong and smart. Someone who can rule the kingdom wisely and not feed me her father's poisonous words. I doubt that I'll never find such a woman. Give up on every maid in the kingdom, my lord, because he knows there's a strong woman.
Oh, yeah.
And yesterday, I met a young woman who had quick wit and fire in her eyes. She did not seem like a woman of nobility. Shame, that is. I would gladly have gone to see any woman capable in such regard. Yet you must choose a wife from among the nobility regardless. It is, after all, tradition. As if tradition mattered to that brood of vipers. They plot to control the throne before it is even in my grasp. If I marry to please a powerful house, I risk having a fool for a wife. What other choice do I have? We respected the traditions to the fullest. You'd be able to choose any woman in the ball, even someone you didn't know. How convenient that this rule is often forgotten. Someone I didn't know. Captain, you're brilliant. It's perfect. I'm not sure I follow your thinking, my lord. Masquerade ball. I'll be able to choose from the woman without discriminating over looks or political ties. They've been pushing me to follow tradition for so long, they can't complain if I remember the old rules. Captain, you are truly a remarkable man. I see now why Father trusted you so much. Of course, my lord. Well, it's always an honor to be of service. Thank you so much, my friend. You're a rare breed indeed. Still faithful to your ideals. Ideals or not, Prey has long since escaped us, and if we linger any longer, people might grow suspicious. Right, my friend, let us return to the castle with all haste. Now that I have a solution in mind, I can return with a light heart.
Oh, that's a bit of juicy gossip you don't hear every day. A masquerade ball, huh? I know a certain lady who would pay handsomely for this information, that she would. Day may have started lousy after all of last night's drinking, but it's turned out to be quite a good one after all. All thanks to a few extra rounds at the pub. You can't go wrong with that.
What time is it?
The sun is already so high in the sky. I must have slept in. Considering how long I spent outside last night, that's hardly a surprise. I'm still not sure what to think about what happened. I want to trust Tobias, but... well, at least it's something different from the usual. It's strange how my life has been so boring all this time, and now suddenly all these things are happening to me. It's been stranger than that. I don't know why no one's come to wake me up yet. It must be at least noon, if not later. Surely Carmosa hasn't decided to be gracious and grant me a holiday. I want none of your pitiful excuses! Uh-oh. Carmosa's definitely not in a gracious mood. I should get going and see what's going on before she catches me like this. Everyone is here. You're an even bigger disappointment than usual! Like Carmosa's mad at Gloria today. I wonder why. Hey, Sophia. Cinders, not so loud. I don't want to get into trouble or miss any of this. What's going on? Business as usual. Mother's in a bad mood and Gloria was the nearest thing she could yell at. I'm not interested in your excuses. It's your duty to make sure there's enough wood for the fireplace. But if the servant is allegedly ill, then find someone else. Do it yourself if you have to. I'm sorry, Mother. I understand. If you truly understood, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. But I am wasting my breath. I can only hope that you've learned your lesson and this won't happen again. It seems I can't trust you girls with even the smallest tasks. I wish that one of you would finally take charge of things. Yes, Mother. Well, don't just say yes. Prove your worth by taking action. Make sure dinner is ready in 2 hours. I expect the wood to be chopped by then as well. Don't worry, Mother. I will. Cinders! Sophia, why were you wasting your time eavesdropping instead of being useful? It's not a waste to watch the mighty, all-knowing Gloria get scolded by Mom. Oh, what's this? You usually have such a sharp reply, but now you can't think of anything to say? Whatever happened to the perfect, glorious, outspoken Gloria? One scolding from Mom is all it takes to shut you up. I don't have time to deal with your childish jealousy, but watch your tongue. I will certainly get you in trouble someday. It will certainly get you in trouble. Anyway, you two heard Mother. Dinner must be ready in 2 hours, so get started. What? Why do we have to get dinner ready? Because I'll be busy taking care of Mother's other needs, like getting the wood chopped. If you'd rather not, I can always tell Mother you refuse to obey her orders. Fine, I'll do it. Just pray your food isn't poisoned. As if you'd have the guts to do such a thing, little sister. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have duties to attend to. But it looks like I'm stuck working with you, Cinders. Yeah.
Welcome
Choosing violence.
Choosing violence.
Wow, you really told her off. Nicely done. Of course I did. Nice to see Gloria get a taste of her own poison once in a while. Even nicer to see her at a loss for words. You really hate her, don't you? Never thought about it before, but I guess I do. Gloria was always cruel to me. Keeps trying to be like Mom. She thinks Mom will acknowledge her if she keeps putting me down. Well, things haven't been as bad ever since you came along. You're getting the brunt of it now. Yes, I hate her. I didn't always hate her, but I definitely do. At least she got her due this time. She might be Carmos's favorite, but we're the ones on top for now. True, but I don't feel that great about it. Well, that's not important. If we don't finish dinner on time, we won't be on top for much longer. It would be nice having someone help me with dinner for once. Hurry up and take out all the ingredients we're going to need. Isn't it obvious? I hardly step foot in the place, so naturally I don't know where anything is. Naturally. Doesn't mean you can't help with the preparation, though. I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I? There's no way you can prepare dinner in 2 hours alone. I'll be in just as much trouble as you if it's not done. Mother isn't forgiving towards anyone. I figured out that much myself, and now here are all the ingredients. Yuck! That stench is unbelievable! Are they rotting or something? No, this is just how vegetables smell. They do grow in the soil, you know. Sure, but I can't believe you actually live with this odor. But sometimes you must feel like a rather large carrot yourself, or a beetroot, maybe? It's very funny, Sophia. Besides, it wasn't exactly my own choice to move in here. I used to have a proper bedroom before Gloria took it. Of course, how could I forget? Still, you should be grateful. They say harsh conditions help to build character. Bound to become a diamond here, while poor Gloria softens with every passing hour. Could you give me a break for once? If that's how it's going to look, I prefer to risk Carmos's anger and prepare the dinner alone. Fine. He's so uptight, sis. One Gloria in this house is one too many. So, what was it like before we moved in with you anyway? Yeah, we should tell her. Yeah. Really want to know? Of course. We've got to talk about something, or else it'll be awfully dull in here. Can't just admit that you're actually interested in my life? Well, if you must know, the moment we started talking, I decided it's better to imagine you're a character from some bad romance novel. It's much less personal like that. You're such a darling sometimes. I know, right? I may not be the worst or best in the family, but you can't accuse me of lacking creativity. Let's get back to that book you're in. Well, life was different when Father was still alive. More carefree, although I suppose. Father had a way with kids. I think he was rather a big child himself, always dreaming. I loved it back then. See, how do you feel about it now? I think it was too dreamy, yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
It may have been fun while I was a child, but looking back on it, I think Father was overprotective. He raised me to live in a dream instead of reality. Fortunately, life is a lot more complicated than fairy tales. Say that again. Imagination can only work so far, and all dreams eventually come to an end. You're right. Sometimes I wish Father had better prepared me to be awake. What about your mother? Do you remember her? Fortunately, she passed away giving birth to me. I still feel guilty about it, even though I know it doesn't make any sense. Father told me a lot about her, but I don't really know if that's how she was, or it's an idealized image. Either way, I know her death had a huge impact on him. Very lonely. Perhaps that's why he preferred to get lost in his dreams rather than face real life. I'm sure it got even worse after we came into your life, huh? Ew, this onion is making my eyes wet. That's me. I'll chop it. Rinse the knife first, it shouldn't sting that much. As for you, I'd say my life was definitely different after you came in. But just be honest. I know your life has been miserable ever since your father buried our lovely mother. Trust me. It's not like Gloria and I wanted this either, and yet here we are, one big happy family. It can be awfully cynical at times. Oh, you noticed. Fine then. Yes, my life got worse when you showed up. I'm a servant, no, a slave in my own house. Not like you'd understand. Yes. What could I possibly know about it? Onion. Sounds to me like it's your turn to talk about your life. Well, there's not much to say. That can't be true. It's obvious a lot happened to you and Gloria. You wouldn't be like this otherwise. Besides, you said you wanted a conversation, so tell me about yourself. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. When we were children, we lived out in the countryside. Our house wasn't as nice as this one, though. Our father was a military man who got himself killed in some war, and that left Mother a widow. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. I hardly ever saw the man. When he was around, he was like a complete stranger. Not a proper father at all. His death meant nothing to us. What about Carmosa? It must have affected her. Maybe that's why she's the way she is now. Was that supposed to be a joke? Mom didn't care about him any more than we did. And why did she marry him? Well, why does anyone get married? For many reasons. There are a lot of reasons for people to get married. I don't think I can give one solid answer. Some do it to attain higher status or more riches. It's also a way to ensure you aren't alone when you're old. Sometimes love, or at least mutual respect, plays a role too. Right. For instance, an ugly girl like me would only attract men looking for status. They would try to climb the social ladder using my back for crumbs. The opposite with Mother. She used her looks to attract a man of higher social standing. If you had a penchant for melodrama, you could say she climbed his dead body to be where she is now. Carmosa comes from a poor family. They had a title of nobility, but they lost most of their riches and splendor. The only way for her to advance up the social ladder was marry, and she was ambitious. She married an officer who was relatively rich and had a lot of accolades. Probably planned ahead even there. For all I know, she chose a man who would probably die in a battle so she could marry even higher later. You say that? That's such a cruel assumption. Cruel? It's not like she killed him. He would have died anyway. She just wanted something more out of life. Still a cold thing to do. Cold? Sure, it's cold. It's business, and I don't see what's wrong with it. Mother's not dumb. She did what she had to. Not much room in this world for women with ambition, so you take what you can get. So back then, was your life as bad as it is now? Worse. How so? Well, you weren't around. Interesting perspective on Cinderella. That Cinderella might have made life easier for the stepsisters. Listen, if you're not around, who do you think becomes the victim? Mother's always needed a scapegoat, and Gloria would do anything to please that woman. I'm not as pretty, smart, or as ambitious as them, so naturally she humiliated me. Mom didn't disapprove. And now that I'm here, they no longer target you, is that it? That's exactly it. Mom and Gloria have a new scapegoat, and my life is finally a little better. Oh, I see. So now that you're no longer tormented, you chose to torment me instead? Of course. Nothing personal, but it's either me or you, and I certainly won't be the victim again. Besides, you should be grateful. Didn't your father shield you from the real world too much? Well, now you get to see exactly what it's like. That's the way of all things. You're either the hunter or the prey. And as long as Mother and Gloria focus on you, I can go back to being my own worthless self. Sure. I don't know. I like this sort of us against the world kind of thing we got going on here. Sure. I mean, I like her as a fellow ally, but I don't know.
This is like the last decision we're gonna make for the stream.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's say you're so cruel. Let's choose violence. So you're just as cruel and calculating as Carmosa. You let someone else suffer for your own personal gain. I never claimed I'm any better than her. If anything, I'm worse. You're a broken, bitter, and evil girl. Oh, please. So? That's hardly news. Why does it matter one way or another? I don't understand how you can be so empty. Can't you see that you're responsible for most of your own suffering? And what would you know about
Ooh,
it?
did you see that? Snap, 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 snap.
Yeah.
The text came out like
Rapid
lightning.
fire. What would you know about it? Nothing. You lived a perfect fairy tale. You went through what I did, you'd be the same, empty and broken. You're wrong, but I'm sure you'll never understand that. I've had enough of this. I've done enough work. You can handle the rest of the dinner, can't you? Well, don't really have a choice. I'm leaving. Fine, have it your way. For a girl who wastes her life away in the kitchen dreaming of better days, you sure can be self-righteous. And for a girl so cynical and angry with the world, you sure look a lot like a self-made victim. Then I suppose the entire conversation between us was pointless. Good luck with the dinner. Being like, hey, guess what? You're still enemies with her, and you could have been allies. What's wrong with her? I can't believe we actually had that conversation. That was definitely unexpected. I think I need some time to think it over. The meal's nearly done anyway. All that's left is to get one of the servants to cook the rest right before it is served. I really need to get out and gather my thoughts. Everyone is busy, so I'm sure no one will notice if I sneak out. Main hallway is empty. No surprise there.
Well, I think we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's talk about some of what we've seen. We can spoil some of the ending a little bit to give some of what the perspective is. This game. I mean, people should play it. Their fairy godmother, they have, they take a...
yeah, they have choices.
They have
Fairy
choices.
god. We don't need to say explicitly who they all are.
Right, but they're sort of a fairy godmother, but it's not the traditional fairy godmother who's nice and happy. It's an actual fae. You do not mess with the fae. And so there are some severe consequences if you, like, you're owing the fae a favor if you use them to take you to the ball, which is a whole thing. There's also a fairy godmother who is like a
person.
What's I don't know what the word she uses, but like kind of like the local witch kind of, but it's coded very voodoo, and but she's a fairy godmother in a self-actualizing way, where she will pay for you to have the stuff to be able to go to the ball, and she could provide you a life where you could just be alone and go out
That's
on
right,
your
because
own
you
and be a
can
merchant.
run out and
Yeah, you can
leave
run
and-
away. So that's an interesting direction to take, where you have like like the fairy godmother, but it's not the cozy fairy godmother. It is creepy.
They're
like
creepy.
Actual fae.
They're actually creepy.
And the self-actualizing fairy godmother, like you can make the decision yourself. And then there's some like really interesting stuff.
Well, so you can end up with the prince. You can run away,
Yeah.
become kind of merchant. I think there's like a Tobias route.
There's
but
like a
you
whole
can-
poisoning plot.
You can end up taking over the house
Yeah.
and ruling the house
And ruling
too.
the house.
And so, but like the dynamics and again, you can like end up in any of these from different routes, and so you can end up like being like a benevolent ruler with the
Yeah.
prince,
Yeah.
or you can be like a Machiavellian ruler with the
Yeah.
prince, or you can have compassion on your sisters and like take over the property and then
And
take care of them,
rule it
and,
nicely.
or you can like poison people and you can take it over and you can be worse than Carmosa ever dreams to have been. And so it is really interesting how they took that story and they're like, well, what if you really did have options here and you could really do this in different ways? And
Well, and taking the story Cinderella is so interesting because it's a character who often gets accused of not having agency. And here your mechanic is that you are giving her choices. And so like that's like a really cool way of taking a story with a character who doesn't always have choices, and you are giving her choices here. She has options. She can stay, she can go, she can decide what kind of person she wants to be, how to accept these circumstances. And that's what takes this game from not just being like just like a straightforward story, but really you start to ask questions, like good questions. So taking the mechanics of a visual novel and really using it to ask genuine questions about how do you react to these kind of situations and what choice do you take.
And it is true that a lot of like the character building happens in the earlier part of the game, and as you get later and further on, you've kind of
Locked yourself in.
you kind of start locking yourself in, which is often how a lot of these games go. But yeah, no, that was fun. Thank you for all of the reading, Lydia. It was like for 2 hours. You read all of the things, which was really great.
The voice has changed a ton.
Uh,
And that's okay. It happens sometimes.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and I do recommend sitting down and playing through Cinders. I suspect you probably can pick it up for relatively cheap on Steam or wherever. It's available on multiple platforms, I know. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun talking through it. Visual novel games. I know that there's at least one, I think maybe a couple of people who've done this style of game in at COGG. So yeah. Check it out and let us know what you think. And if you have any cool ideas about, wow, what could you do with this format? Like, you know, talk about it. Anyway, that's been our Let's Play for this month, and we'll see you all again next month. We do have our Game Dev Meetup coming up at the end of the month, I think. And then there'll be announcements for other things coming up. We do have, I guess I should definitely plug this.
Yeah, GDEX.
We do have GDEX coming up, which is super. Oh, I'm realizing we're still on the.
Oh, yeah.
There.
There we go.
Let's bring up GDEX. Let's see, I gotta make sure I get the dates right. So yeah, GDEX is June 22nd through the 25th, and that is at the Greater Columbus Convention Center. It is, once again, this year being paired with Origins, though I think the arrangement of some of how those things are organized is a little different this year, but still very exciting. It's always a great time. Like, it's a phenomenal time of getting together and sharing this incredible thing called game development. So come by, check it out, and yeah, we will see you all around next time. Thank you so much, and get there. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.